Good morning. The grandmother clock is going, so it must be time to start talking. Hi everyone, my name is Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey, and I talk about how I've lost 90 pounds on the ketogenic diet and how you might be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your lives. Bear with me just a moment as I do some technical behind the scenes things. Appreciate that. As I like to say, I would scold my staff for not taking care of this better, but then I would just be chewing my own self out. Today's topic, if the ketogenic diet is so great, why isn't everyone doing it? And I bet you guys might have some opinions about that already. For one thing, the good news is many, many more people are doing it than were a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. And it essentially was almost, didn't even have a name then that anyone knew about outside of research communities 10 years ago. The research to the benefits of following a well-formulated ketogenic diet, and for those of you who don't know, the ketogenic diet means that you have reduced your carbohydrate intake to a level where your liver is no longer pumping out glucose for fuel. And when the glucose is not coming from the liver, not only does your pancreas not have to shoot out insulin to regulate that glucose, but your body happily just says, oh, well, let's just start burning ketones or fat for fuel. Burning ketones, ketogenic, that's what that's all about. That's what that means. This is not a weight loss diet. It's a fat burning diet. It's a nutrition protocol by which your body burns fat for fuel rather than burning sugar or glucose for fuel. So that's all that means. But if this is so great, why isn't everyone doing it? There's a lot of forces out there that are kind of invested in making sure you don't do it. Well-meaning but ill-informed personalities. Some people who are well-informed but not well-intentioned, sorry to say, who have a vested interest in keeping the status quo. Let's face it. The wheat growing states may have an issue with a nutrition protocol by which you cut out wheat. The pharmaceutical industry, which does very well selling medicine to regulate many conditions which can be cured essentially, or certainly mitigated with food. They're not going to love the fact that you just say, just eat this, just the food. It's just the food. You don't need the pill or the injection. So those are a couple of just off the top reasons that I can come up with why not everyone is doing it. But just take it at a more simple human level. This is not a new way. This is not the new shiny object. This is not fad. This is documented back to 1863 with William Banting, a British undertaker, and his treatise on corpulence. For those of you who don't know, corpulence means fat, being heavy, overweight, obese, whatever you want to call it, pleasantly plump. This is very old, and and there might be some folks here from South Africa, if you want to chime in and let everyone know what the ketogenic diet is called in South Africa, go ahead and let us know. You guys are having conversations with yourself. I really like that. Bonjour, Kitty. Bonjour. It's not new. It's not a fad. So why haven't we just always done it? Well, it is, we've become, in the last 10,000 years, creatures who decided that agriculture made it. Oh, thank you very much. Good morning from South Africa. Love your way of living, eating. And Belinda, can you please tell us what in South Africa the ketogenic diet is called? I know, but share it with everyone else. The Banting diet, absolutely, for William Banting, 1863. Not a fad, not new, not scary, not wrong. Ooh, I feel a t-shirt coming on. The ketogenic diet, not new, not a fad, not wrong. Who votes yes? Okay, sorry, squirrel. All right, so we have been conditioned, as were our parents, possibly our grandparents, depending on your age, and possibly your great-grandparents, depending on your age. Conditioned that we must have tons of vegetables and fruit, healthy whole grains. You must eat 3 times a day. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. If you don't eat every 2.5 hours, your metabolism will slow down. If you skip a meal, you're going to go into starvation mode. We've been conditioned to that. So that's another reason why not everyone is doing it. People are genuinely concerned / confused. There's a really good reason for that. Because it's confusing. Because there's a lot of conflicting information out there. I don't have all the answers. All I can tell you is that I took this very straightforward, simple protocol that I saw on January 8, 2014 in a video from Dr. Eric Westman of Hill Clinics and Duke University. It was just an old school video of him talking to his clinic patients. Keep your carbohydrate count 20 grams or fewer a day. Total, not net. Eat from the food list. If it's not on the list, don't eat it. And don't eat if you're not hungry. That's as complicated as it is. And actually, while that is one of the great strengths of this nutrition protocol, it's one of the things that makes it, in my opinion, the harder for people to embrace. It's too freaking simple. It can't be that simple. It can't be that easy. You mean to tell me it was always this easy? And I've walked around, sometimes not walking. I've sat around for 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, 50 years, overweight. And the solution for not only losing weight, but for not having to take medications for type 2 diabetes, not having joint pain, not being depressed, for getting my brain back. You mean the answer really was keep your carbohydrate intake to 20 grams total, not net, or fewer a day. Eat fatty sources of protein and don't eat if you're not hungry. That's all it ever was. Now, it can be argued, well, that's just eat less. I do eat less than I used to eat. Here's the difference. I, like most people, tried many things. There was the year of the triathlon, where if my friend Britt Tracy is here, she will say we trained for and participated in several sprint-level triathlons. If you go to my blog, kcdurango.com, and you see the before photos, you will see several of me in triathlon gear, perfectly round, very heavy. That was the year I was going to get into shape. I often say I was in shape. The shape was round. Round is a shape. I was perfectly round. I tried the move more, eat less. I followed the pyramid. Had the information from a nutritionist. Get 60% of your your calories from carbohydrate. About 25% from protein and about 5% from fat, as we now know. Upside down. Pyramid, upside down. This is the opposite diet. Whatever you were taught, do the opposite. But to say, you mean I went through all that and I lost, I think over the course of 6 months and 4 or 5 sprint level triathlons and the training that went involved with it, I think I lost 11 pounds. So here's the difference. I was miserable every day. I was hungry all the time. And all I thought about was food. So the ketogenic diet, keeping your carbohydrate intake to 20 grams or fewer total, not net, a day, eating fatty sources of protein and not eating if you're not hungry. The amazing thing is, get through it a little bit, get through the first 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and you're not thinking about food. One of the hallmarks of being in ketosis, which means you're burning fat for fuel, is you lose your hunger. You lose your appetite. Your cravings dissipate to the point where eventually they disappear. There is a difference. There are lots of ways to lose weight. Many people are pleased and successful with Weight Watchers. In my opinion, why does Weight Watchers need to change their program maybe every last 2 weeks of December moving into January? Why do they have to keep switching it up? This protocol has not changed since 1863. What is it? How many grams of carbohydrate do you want to eat a day or fewer? Total, not net? 20. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Eat fatty sources of protein. No math involved. No pie charts. So I say again, one of the reasons not everyone is doing this is it's too simple. It can't be that simple. We will end up angry with our medical providers, ourselves, our government, the USDA, food manufacturers, who love to say this cereal is part of a heart healthy diet. Just make sure you get in enough exercise. It's brilliant, actually, if you think about it. For a food manufacturer to say, eat our food, and if you are overweight and not losing weight and whatever, it's probably because you are not moving enough. Really, the lie has been put to that about this: move more, eat less. Does anyone know how many calories are burned over the course of someone running a marathon, 26.2 miles? Does anyone know how many calories are burned? I'm going to wait for just a second because I don't know I can't tell, the things pop up at me and then the screen freezes. I'll just say 2,400 calories. So you've run a freaking marathon and you've burned 2,400 calories. 2,400 calories. Does anyone know how many calories are in, I don't know, a typical big fast food meal? Probably about that many. So you run a marathon and you cancel it with one, meal or one day's meals. So anyway, you can't outrun your food. I didn't make that up. That's a meme. You can't outrun a bad diet. So why does not everyone do it? Well, we do have forces that have vested interests in us not doing it. We are confused. and concerned for health. Oh my gosh, if you eat all that, you are going to die tomorrow from a heart attack. No, not really. Again, the lie's been kind of put to the saturated fat cholesterol heart disease hypothesis, which was incorrect in the first place, but became doctrine, became dogma. And it's difficult to go against your medical providers. Some are coming around. I hear about it every day. Every day. When those doctors who are able to remove their bruised ego from the equation, when their patients come in having lost 15, 20, 30, 57 pounds, A1C is normalized. Oh my gosh, that's great. You must have been following my advice to move more and eat less. Well, no, actually, doctor, what I did was the opposite of that. I'm eating the ketogenic diet. I'm eating low carb. I'm essentially eliminated carbs from my diet and I'm feeling great. Those doctors, medical providers who are able to remove themselves from that equation and put their big girl pants on, say, okay, whatever you're doing, keep it up. So, doctor by doctor, patient by patient, person by person, that changes. But many people are still concerned. What happens with my cholesterol? Not enough time really here to go into what happens with cholesterol. But the one overall number that people quote, the doctors quote, that the labs come back with about cholesterol, kind of irrelevant. Almost certainly. If you follow a well-formulated ketogenic diet, your triglycerides, which are inflammatory, will decrease, and your HDL, anti-inflammatory, these are components of cholesterol, will increase. It's almost certain. Dr. Stephen Phinney has said many times, if there was a drug on the market that could do to triglyceride reduction what a well-formulated ketogenic diet could do, it would be a barn burner. It would be absolutely the best-selling drug. So these are the reasons not everyone is doing it. Medical pushback, pharmaceutical pushback, cultural pushback, fear and confusion. And sometimes a lot of folks have thrown in the towel. They think they've tried everything because they've tried most everything. I am certain that there are people in this room right now, because I feel like we're all in the same room, which is a really weird thing when I'm talking into my MacBook, who thought they had tried everything, who had given up hope. Had given up hope. And then they gave it one more shot. And it worked. And I would just love to see a show of hands of anyone that is in that position. You gave up hope of there ever being a change, of something that made you miserable. Whether your life was miserable or not, you were miserable in your head. You had given up hope of that changing, and then it changed. And I will be the first to raise my hand. I am you, okay? I'm nothing special. I'm a short, middle-aged woman who had given up hope of ever losing weight. I just didn't want to take insulin for diabetes. I could take a lot. I could face a lot. We've all faced a lot. We've all dealt with a lot. That was my line in the sand. And I actually do get emotional about it because when you've lost hope, what a sad place to be. And I was 55 at that point. I know some of you have felt like you've given up hope and you're 20 years old. That should be the age when you think you can change the world and light it on fire in a good way, not in a bad way. Don't light the world on fire. But you feel like you're invincible and you can do anything, you can conquer anything. And many of you have given up hope. Don't. It's one of the great villainies of this. When callous marketing interests, pharmaceutical interests, lazy medical providers who apparently think they're so cool they don't need to learn one new thing, food manufacturers, when they don't care that what they're doing robs people of hope, it's villainy. You can take a lot from people. You don't escape life without pain. You can't, and heartbreak. You don't escape that. But we shouldn't be robbed of hope because of something that is so fundamental as just eating the right food for us. Now, there's no one answer for everybody. Please do not buy into that. I will say, from my understanding, from Dr. Eric Westman, this protocol, the 20 grams or fewer a day, and this is discovered this came up at the Durham support group meeting the other evening. How did someone arrive at 20 grams or fewer? Total, not net. Years of clinical experience. Pretty much, that's the breaking point. That's the barrier. It will pretty much work for everybody. There can be some leeway for individuals. If you are one of those individuals, fantastic. This will work. If you go into it trying to nudge the numbers, keep in mind, alternative flours are not on the food list. Nuts are not on the food list. Fruit is not on the food list. Berries in limited quantities. And think of this, berries have their seeds on the outside. Fruit has the seeds on the inside. That's one good way. But berries are berries. We know what berries are. It'll work. Weight Watchers can work. Move More, Eat Less can work. Low fat can work for some people. What are the other ones? Find out what works for you and go with it. Don't listen to what any talking head says, including this white-haired talking head. Well, white-haired talking head. Talking head with white hair. But it'll work. And it is simple. Doesn't mean it's easy. Again, it's almost too simple. It can be upsetting and vexing to think it was always there. And when you're at the right point to do it, you'll do it. Don't play around, though. If you're going to do this, don't play around. Don't blame keto for what the almond flour did. Don't blame keto for what the net carbs did. Don't blame keto for what the fake bread did. Don't blame keto for what the 7 minimum cups of veggies a day or leafy greens did. By the way, no minimum number of vegetables or leafy greens. Maximum, yes. This is how simple it is. Look at your fist. That's about the size, the amount of non-starchy vegetables you want, pre-cooked. So if you cut up a zucchini, about that much. If you have broccoli, that's not a lot of broccoli, not a half a plate of broccoli. It's about a cup, about the size of your fist. About this much. Leafy greens. 2 fists. That's maximum, not minimum. Okay? Again, we've been inculcated that we must have, that veggies are unlimited. Nope. That's where the carbs come from. we've been conditioned to think that we must eat 3 times a day, or we'll go into starvation mode. Again, I take great offense at that. It's offensive to people who are actually starving around the world. What are we? We skip lunch, we're going to go into starvation mode? Oh, if you don't eat every 2.5 or 3 hours, your metabolism will tank? So you have to eat every 2.5, 3 hours to keep your metabolism up? Okay. Well, why don't we just eat every 15 minutes? And then our metabolisms will be on supercharged and we'll all be very thin and fit. No. Okay? So why, if it's so great, why does not everyone do it? Because there are forces that don't want us to do it. There are cultural accepted practices that we just need to overcome. There are our own personal things. We tell ourselves, well, I can't do it. I'm addicted to, and then fill in the blank. I'm addicted to pasta. I'm addicted to bread. I'm addicted to chips. I'm addicted to sugar. I'm addicted to, okay, one thing, we're all addicted to it. It's the way we're wired. All those things that I just mentioned, pasta, bread, chips, potatoes, whatever, they're all sugar. They're all sugar. There's not varieties of carbohydrate. As far to loosely quote Dr. Georgia Ede, the Snickers bar, the potato chip, the loaf of bread, the slice of bread, the whole grain pasta, the bran muffin, as far as your liver is concerned, once it processes it, it all comes out as simple sugar. There are not categories of carbohydrate. It all comes out as simple sugar. And we're all addicted to it because that's the way we're wired for evolutionary purposes. So if you want an excuse to say why I can't do the ketogenic diet, enjoy your excuse, your explanation, your reasoning. So that's fine. No one gets a vote on what you do, including me. And then there are things, well, it's going to be really hard for me because in my culture, we're Italian, pasta. We're French, bread. We're Asian, rice. My lovely mate is Colombian, rice and beans and potatoes and yuca and everything else. If he can do it, you can do it. And he didn't need to lose weight. And he's very culturally in tune with that food. Every culture is based on carbohydrates for the last 10,000 years. But keep in mind, we've been around for 70 million. Every culture has carbohydrate, except for the Inuit and the Maasai. There might be some others. So again, if your preference is to give an explanation why you can't do it, that's fine. That's fine. You don't need to do this. And there are many paths to getting to losing weight and being healthy and feeling good. So find the one that works for you. But if you're here, you may have interest in the ketogenic diet. Someone just said, I used to be addicted to something and now they're addicted to bacon. Oh, by the way, it does come up occasionally. But what am I going to do? I don't like bacon. Well, don't eat bacon. I don't eat pork products. You don't have to eat pork products. I'm hoping to have an interview with a nice person, a wonderful person who has lost 60 kilos. He is vegetarian by culture. And he's lost 60 kilos. That's about 120 pounds on a vegetarian diet. He has agreed for me to interview him. And I'm hoping to do that because many people ask about vegetarian. How can I do this as a vegetarian? It is doable. It is more of a challenge for obvious reasons. But you don't have to eat pork products. You don't have to eat bacon. If you don't like eggs, don't eat eggs. Alligator is not on the food list, but if alligator is available to you and that's a food that you would eat it. If it's an animal product, you can eat it. Many substitutions. But let me tell you what, try not concentrating on the food list. Try realizing that eventually you're not going to give a crud about food. Unbelievable but true. You will stop thinking about food. Quit concentrating on the food. Eat fatty sources of protein. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Another reason many people do this is they hear other people saying, well, I eat kind of just a little bit a day. And some people eat their meal is kind of once every other day or whatever. I can't do that. That can't be healthy. Yeah, it is. If you're not hungry, don't eat. And stop when you're satisfied. Do we really think that 300 years ago people sat down to 3 meals a day and 2 snacks? No. They were busy. They were way too busy. So, that's my take on if it's so easy, if it works so well, why doesn't everyone do it? Everyone has to come to their own conclusion about what they want to do. Some people are just not there yet. I was there. I was there when I started this. I heard the simple message: keep your carbohydrate intake, total, not net, to 20 grams or fewer. If it's not on the food list, it's not food you're going to eat, and don't eat if you're not hungry. And let me reiterate, you do count the carbs in vegetables. That's essentially where the carbs come from. Vegetables are not free foods, but you don't have to eat any vegetables. You don't have to get in anything. You don't have to get in a minimum number of calories, a minimum number of carbohydrate, a minimum number of grams of protein and or fat. And for heaven's sake, don't let an app tell you what to eat. Don't let an app tell you, oh, you're not eating enough. You should be getting in this amount of calories. Keep in mind that when you're burning fat for fuel, you are, getting food by whatever you put in your mouth. But by definition, your body is consuming the number of calories that it needs. By definition, because guess what? You're alive. So the fuel that you carry on board in your tuchus, or your tummy, or your chins, or your arms, that's fuel. And you've been storing it for this day. You've been storing it for a rainy day. And guess what? It's actually raining where I am. The rainy day is here, y'all. You can do it. Okay, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes trying to look at some questions. They go by rather quickly, so I apologize. I apologize if I miss some. Learn to recognize hunger. That is very key. Don't eat. That was key for me. I'd lost about 40, 45 pounds. And I'm always in ketosis. I just didn't play. The message was clear. 20 grams or fewer, total not net of carbohydrate a day. And I thought, well, 0 is fewer than 20. So some days I had essentially no carbs. And I lost. It was great. And then at some point I asked the question, why am I not losing weight? It's been about 3 or 4 weeks. And the answer was, are you only eating when you're hungry? And I couldn't answer that and say, yes, I only eat when I'm hungry. I had to learn what hunger is. There was brain hunger from my glucose burning days, which is when your brain says, get me some more glucose. And there's a long explanation about that. But I needed to not eat out of habit. I have magnets that say, and it's a picture of a fridge, are you here out of hunger or out of habit? And I was eating out of habit. And I still struggle with that sometimes. I mean, I work from my kitchen, so I'm surrounded by it. But you learn what true hunger is. What about electrolytes? There must be something going around on the internet now about the potassium. Y'all, I don't take a potassium supplement. It is actually, my understanding, it is kind of rare to have a potassium deficiency. It is more likely that you're not getting enough sodium And so you might be flushing magnesium and potassium and calcium out of your system. Just up the sodium to 5 grams a day if you do not have sodium sensitive hypertension. But there is something going on, because I've probably gotten the question, how do you get in all of your potassium? You must have 4,000 milligrams a day. No, I'm good. My last blood work, all that stuff is perfect. This is a very nutrient-dense way of eating. And there are lots of sources of potassium. Let me tell you what, there is more, ounce for ounce, there's more potassium in an avocado than in banana. Okay? So half an avocado is very high. But mostly I keep my sodium up. The sodium, if you're not getting enough sodium and it's flushed out of your system, that is an electrolyte. They're magnetically charged. So the sodium, the queen of the minerals, draws with it magnesium and potassium and calcium and all the ums. Keep your sodium up. Okay, I'm looking. Okay, someone's talking about lipedema. Yeah, lipedema is a unique case, but this is very effective. Lymphedema, and lipedema, which are two conditions of fluid retention. It can just take longer. I actually talked with Dr. Westman and Jackie Eberstein about this at Low Carb USA last year. Oh, by the way, speaking of which, quick update. The Go Keto with Casey Roadshow in the March 16th through the 18th in Greensboro, North Carolina. It's going to be fun, guys. This is going to be a great turnout. We've got folks coming from Florida, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, West Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New York, Brooklyn in the house, New Jersey, Minnesota, Oklahoma, and Oregon. It's going to be fun. And Dr. Eric Westman and Jackie Eberstein will be there, as will I, as will attendees who will share their stories. This will be great. So if you want to find out about it, go to my blog, CaseyDurango.com. Go to the Go Keto with Casey Roadshow event. It is there is a registration fee because we got to take care of our speakers, but it's going to be fun. Okay. Lipedema, and okay, I went by too quickly. Sorry. Someone asked about wine, keto and wine. It is not on page 4. There are special rules for alcohol, as Grace from Frankie and Grace, or Grace and Frankie on the show, one of the first scenes. The sugars that go into fermenting a food or liquid. The fermentation process eats the sugars. In fermenting wine and spirits, that produces the alcohol. In fermenting yogurt, it gives yogurt that tang. In fermenting cabbage, that turns it into sauerkraut. It gives it that tang. Okay? So the fermentation process eats the sugars like little pack women. So I enjoy wine. I enjoy spirits. If you don't already drink, don't start. Do recognize that your tolerance for alcohol may change as you lose weight. And if you're someone who every time you get that nice warm feeling after a glass or two of wine or a martini and you turn to munching, just be aware of that. Okay, and I did talk last week about constipation, so I'm not going to revisit that. Keep in mind, constipation does not mean that you're not going as often. It means, constipation means you have pain and you can't go. You may think, I have to get in all this fiber or else I get backed up. Well, is that when you were a sugar burner? Because our bodies change when we switch from burning sugar for fuel to burning fat for fuel. And those things which used to bother us when we were sugar burners, we sometimes find disappear when we're fat burners. If you are burning fat for fuel and you are confident that you are doing so, and you are having some issues, milk of magnesia, added magnesium, a Epsom salt bath, and actually increasing sodium, because it helps pull fluid into our bowels, helping things move. And many people find with the fact that they're eating more fat than they used to, that greases the skids, if you hear what I'm saying. Okay, I am going to start wrapping up. Thank you so much, y'all. Thank you for allowing me to come in. I want to give a plug for my patrons, many of whom are here today. Hey, Kimmy from Germany. Guten Tag. And it's not too late for Kimmy. Kimmy is one of our patrons. When we have group chats, it'll be 2 or 3 a.m. where Kimmy is, and she shows up. I want to give a plug for Patreon. Cholesterol in eggs, that is such old school thinking, Lisa. I'm not going to even address it. Even the Heart Association has given up that. Cholesterol, the eggs are nearly perfect food. Don't worry about your cholesterol. Patreon, Patreon. There's patron-only content. I do weekday morning videos, little snippets. There is a patron-only forum where it is a very safe place to share. We now have something called Lens, which is a little Snapchat. I give you some behind-the-scenes things, and depending on your pledge level, you get one-on-one time, you get a group video chat, or a Friday live stream. So there's my commercial for Patreon. Okie dokie. Cholesterol you eat does not affect levels. Yes, that's just outdated thinking. I mean, it's been disproved. Demetria, you darling. Demetria's going to be at the roadshow, coming down from Brooklyn in the house. In my tree, thank you very much. All right. Thanks. Trying to think if there's anything else I need to share. I can't think. So, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. And you guys, keep it up. Support each other. Thank you for all your input on the Keto After 40 with Casey Facebook group. There's a lot of good information there. A lot of times I'll see a question come up and I'll start going to post and answer, and I can see someone typing and they've given the perfect answer. A lot of collective expertise in around. Okay, guys, thanks a lot. I will see you hopefully next Saturday. God willing and the creek don't rise. Appreciate it.